By now, I had gathered a small group of supporters: Nick Ackerman, Penrose Halson, two students from the Leeds University Rockets Association, LURA, called Theo Udis and Cem Murata. I found a few readers willing to read and comment on it, including Chris Surety and David Haysom, the author of the book about Eric Ackerman. So that book about Eric Ackerman, Covert Radar and Signals Interception, by David Haysom, was hanging about on my writing desk for months. The cover picture shows a young Eric as a signals engineer, and when I put that picture together with the picture of my father at the age he was when he joined the RAF, 20 years old, I saw two bright, really young men driving a worn-out Bedford army truck, setting off with their convoy on a post-war secret mission to Austria. This formed the first scene of my book. I turned over the book about Eric to see the back of it, and the publisher was Pen and Sword. I jotted it down, thinking I would collect the names of likely publishers as I went along. I noticed the company had an office in Barnsley, a few miles from my home in Yorkshire. I imagined it was a small, cosy publisher's office with wooden desks and perhaps an office cat. My group of readers kept urging me to get it published, but it was nowhere near ready. There were so many things to get right if I wanted it to be accurate, as well as a great story. Cem Murata of Lura, in particular, assessed all of the rocket science in the book, giving me better ways to express concepts and more accurate science. A challenge here was keeping to the level of knowledge that scientists had in the 1940s. I'm so grateful to him for his careful reading and sharpening up of the science around the rocket technology. Another author friend was concerned about the political sensitivity of the content of the book, with some of the information not previously known and nearly all of it little known to a wider audience. In real life, Putin's Russian army had invaded Ukraine by now, and other incidents of recent years, such as the Salisbury poisonings in 2018 and the killing by poisoning, again through the use of Russian poison Novichok, of human rights lawyer and opposition leader Alexei Navalny in 2020. I knew I needed a publisher that would be able to check over the military secret aspect and therefore make sure the book could do no harm to Britain's security. I noticed that Pen and Sword have a military imprint, so I thought it likely that this publisher would be used to working in potentially sensitive areas. Where there are women in the book, I wanted to keep them in the story and show their strength and their contribution to the Cold War. The main females depicted are Irmgard Grootrup, wife of Helmut Grootrup, but a major force in her own right. Also Mariana, the feisty Hungarian wife of Eric Ackerman, who it appears he actually met on that mission to Austria when she was a refugee fleeing the Red Army with her sister. Karina, the Finnish cellist in the book, is again a strong figure. My father's parents are, of course, vague memories to me as my grandparents, but their character details came directly from my father. His saint-like mother and murderous father were so black and white that I questioned his account, but he was adamant about his recollection of them. I remembered my Nanny Edie as kind and caring, but my grandpa Percy was a frightening presence to me as a small child. I joined the Society of Authors, and one evening at a local event, I read out an excerpt of the book to some fellow writers. They said it was an original and gripping narrative, and that I should waste no more time in looking for a publisher. Buoyed up by this feedback, the next day I sent it off to Pen and Sword, still imagining it arriving in a dusty office down the road in Barnsley. Maybe the office cat would sniff the envelope before curling up to sleep on top of my brown paper parcel. The next day, commissioning editor Heather Williams emailed me to ask for the whole manuscript in electronic form. I sent it. Then there was a long silence. A few weeks later, Pen and Sword confirmed that they wanted to publish. I might have jumped around a lot more if I'd realised how unusual it is for the first publisher I tried to come through with a contract for publication. But as it was, and as Heather so rightly said, the work starts now. See my next video for the lowdown on the editing process, getting copyright permissions for illustrations, and some creative disagreements.